Indeed, yes, the temperature is going to rise by at least 5 degrees now that the blue skies have arrived. This is good news for some, not so good news for those who don't have as much hair on the top as they might like, so please cover up with the sunscreen or put a hat on if you can. And do keep children protected, please. Round and round they go. Smoke is still on, so they've got a great trail in the sky. The pilots are speaking English, but it's quite difficult to make out exactly what they're saying. It's a kind of a code. I think we may got the words rolling up, so we'll see what happens next. There's a huge amount of faith between the leader and this number 2 pilot.
I'll make it finished in about 1 minute. Thank you. Sorry, 2 minutes.
Lovely colour schemes glinting in this summer sunshine here in Bray. Way over the top, 3,000 feet, pulling in tight, pulling about 4G at top, levelling off and then half rolling out, pointing away out to sea. And of course the exhaust is not, it's got smoke coming out of it, not to be confused with the problem. There is no problem with this aircraft. It's just fuel, diesel fuel injected in the back, and it's making a lovely trail through the sky here today. Great shape, great noise. This aircraft is going to fly very quickly around Bray because, well, it's able to do so. If you look under the wings, as I said before, you can see what look like 2 pods, probably rocket pods, I'm guessing.
This aircraft would, at some stage in part of its training, be used as a firing platform, I presume, for the pilots.
Yes, it was a kind of a counter-insurgency aircraft, hence the word Strike Master. It's for light strike purposes, a bit like the Fugger Magister was used by the Air Corps many years ago.
But never in anger.
Never in anger.
The pilot flying it today is a British Airways pilot as well. Mark flies the Boeing 777 and the Boeing 787, which is in itself an interesting aircraft.
Indeed, the Dreamliner is quite new, and had a problem at Heathrow a couple of weeks ago because one caught fire there, so he's an interesting background to his flying career, I suppose. This is a busman's holiday for him, though, to come to Bray here today, Markle.
Short skip over from Wales. The aircraft is based in Wales. Now lights are on, and he's coming down low for a really noisy fly past.
Interestingly, when these were put into service, they were painted a stony colour on the top of camouflage. Look at that for a manoeuvre. It looks like an enormous barrel roll. We're seeing the top and bottom. We can see it's painted a light grey overall, but I was just going to say it used to be painted a deserty colour on the top now, so towards the end of its life they just sprayed it in a shade of grey, and it's quite difficult to see, in fact, when it turns away. I think he's actually a monkey, Michael.
A little bit of Cirque du Soleil in Bray. Upside down. If he keeps doing that, of course, he's going to get his head wet.
Time to wave back. A big wave for the dope on the rope.
And as we did say, you will get some wash coming off this helicopter. So we've got a little extra tide coming in at this very minute, so be careful of the small ones.
Indeed, just to show you the dynamics and aerodynamic effect.
This year the Blades is wearing a new livery. Last year, if you remember, they were blue. Today they are black and orange. There's the orange wings. They blend into a black solution. Very nice. We're going to go through that whole thing for you.
Now, the aircraft we're looking at is the Extra 300. That's an unlimited aerobatic aircraft, so it can carry 2 people of pilot students, pilots in space. It's a 300 braking horsepower piston engine. Its wingspan is 3 meters across. And
here now is the EC-135.
They've done it again. The EC-135 has skipped in from the north. Flown today by Commandant Phil Bonner, Officer Commanding 302 Squadron of Number 3 Operations Wing. Now, Phil is a highly experienced instructor, as you're going to see here today, well capable of demonstrating this aircraft. This is a fine, fine aircraft. I love the 135. It's a twin-engined, 7-seat aircraft, so it's very compact, fixed skid undercarriage. It doesn't have a normal tail rotor, it's got a fenestron, which makes it very manoeuvrable, and is also a fine safety feature. Phil is doing what we call wing overs, even though the aircraft doesn't have any wings as such. He's pulling it through about 80 degrees angle of bank there. He's got a fantastic power to weight ratio. I suspect he's on his own. The fenestron, as I mentioned, is very good for control because, first of all, it's a safety feature for passengers, and secondly, if you lose tail rotor control, you can fly this aircraft in a straight line. Now he's going to hold it into a hover. Watch what he's going to do next. He's going to fly it as all helicopters can go, sideways, backwards, forwards, round and about. Now this is a particularly difficult manoeuvre. Make no mistake, it's not easy to fly a helicopter properly. They're extremely precise instruments. He's now going sideways at about 40 knots, or 50 miles an hour. He's flying into the wind, and yet keeping it on a straight line. So he's got to do cross controls, as it's called. He's now going to go backwards, or is he? Well, he's going back the way he came in any case. So please do feel free and give him a wave if you can. He'd wave back, only his hands and feet are full just at the moment. But he will have time to wave in a moment. Now I said he was going to go backwards. Try that at home in your car. He's reversing the helicopter at about 45 knots, which is not easy to do, especially as he can't see where he's going. I hope he knows Bray Head is there. Yes, to go forward, of course, he pitches the nose up, lets the speed build up, he's almost inverted, and out and about he goes. And he's going to go straight up, putting a little bit of negative G, bunting over the top. Oh my goodness, yes, and rotating through that. You really do have to know every inch of this helicopter when you're flying it like that. You can hear the engines working hard. It's got a semi-rigid rotor, very advanced helicopter instructor aircraft, and it's used for conversion when pilots want to become...
And Kevin, this is the one for anybody who's got their radios with them here today. Make sure you're tuned to Radio Nova 100.3. They're playing some fantastic music chosen by the listeners of Nova to listen to while you watch the display today.
Excellent. Now Paul has done a very nice tight display for us today. He's going to do some fly pasts, fast and slow. He's going to do quarter cloverleaf and a few loops and Cuban rolls, so just keep tabs on him. Now he doesn't have the benefit of a smoke displays, but look, the aircraft is standing out very firmly. Look at the beautiful colours. Light grey on the bottom, dark grey on the top, and a beautiful sunny sky. You couldn't hope for more. This is a Swiss-made aircraft, made in Stans in Switzerland. The Air Corps bought 8 of them. They replaced 2 types in service, the SF-260 Marchetti, which I mentioned earlier, and the Fuga Magister. It's a turboprop. It's got more than 1,000 horsepower pulling that propeller around, and that's flat rated for 850 horsepower. So if you can fly this aircraft well, you can fly probably almost anything. Just showing us a few manoeuvres now on the looping plane, vertically in the top there. You can keep tabs on his wingtips because he's got stroboscopic lights, white pulsing lights you can see there. Rolling off that now, half roll, leveling off. Again, one thing to remember, this is a high performance aircraft in service with about 15 different air forces around the world. The flight line is pointed to the red dot. This is Jerry Humphreys. Now I can hear you saying that doesn't sound like a jet. That's because this aircraft comes either as a jet or propeller-driven aircraft, which is itself most unusual. If it had the jet engine, it would be the smallest jet aircraft in the world. As it is, it's an aircraft that popped up in a James Bond movie. What was the name of the James Bond movie, Michael?
I knew you were going to ask me that one. Somebody will tell us.
I forget is the answer.
The interesting thing about this aircraft as well is it's one of the few aircraft that couldn't come to us today from Newcastle Airfield in Wicklow because it's got such short, tiny wings. It needs a really long runway in order to get to takeoff speed. So it actually had to come from Weston today.
Indeed, I think it's the only one in Europe flying now. There's a few in the States like that. It was a kit aircraft. You made it yourself in the back garden, but it was extremely difficult to finish properly and get balanced as far as around.
Yeah, apparently 5,000 kits were bought, but only a handful of them were actually finished.
And on the water, but I know he's not going to do that because it's not a seaplane. Jerry's just heading away, a big wave. from Jerry Humphreys, and overhead then, as if to...
Without a moment's hesitation, welcome to the trick team.
And what are we looking at? We're looking at two pit specials, which are extremely strong, rugged biplanes. They look like something from World War I. They're not. They were built and designed back in the 1940s. They've got a fantastic shape, a lovely colour scheme, and my, can they fly.
The two pilots today are Richard Grace and Dave Bolston.
Now, these aircraft are equipped with smoke, as you can see. There are different versions of the pit special. They're made to very high tolerances. They can pull +6 and -3G. They're virtually unbreakable. The two wings give them a fantastic amounts of lift, as you can see. They have a fixed undercarriage, so that doesn't slow them down too much. And watch out for the opposition passes. And listen to that engine. Each aircraft is equipped with a Lycoming 0360 A4 engine, and it's got about 200 horsepower, so it's got a great power-to-weight ratio, as I mentioned before.
The team leader is Richard Grace, and he's the son of a famous display pilot, couple in fact, Carolyn and Nick Grace. And you'll also find Richard occasionally flying the Spitfire ML407 at some of the air shows as well. So not only this aircraft, but the Spitfire.
And a brake at the top of that. And if you look behind them again, there's an airliner coming in or out of Dublin, I guess, just a little white dot in the sky. Sometimes there are contrails in the sky higher than we are, but we have the airspace for a while longer. Trigs are left and right, east and west. No, north and south.
And those clever listeners at Radio Nova picked a particular song to go with this one, and it was Come Together from the Beatles. And it's playing right now.
Watch for this. Woo. This is truly an air spectacular over Bray, Michael, isn't it? Very spectacular.
Weather is absolutely perfect at this stage. And over 85,000 people in attendance today. Congratulations, everybody.
Just look at the tight rate of roll of that aircraft. Able to pull it in at about 4G now, heading for each other. They don't see each other, of course, until they're straightened up. So opposition rolls aren't quite easy. So inverted flying now. More -G. Reluctance for punishment.